Yes, very excited. Good morning and welcome to Talk Sports on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. We saw a whole lot of interesting matches that were played during the weekend. Saw some NBA players hitting career points, breaking records, and some also limping off with injuries after suffering some losses. And also, given the fact that it's International Women's Week, which started last week, or basically the entire month of March is the month for women. So we're going to be having conversations around women in sports who have been doing amazingly well, and we have series of names on our list that we'll be talking about today. But we'll focus more on who just won a gold medal at the Para badminton tournaments currently going on in Spain. We'll be starting from the home front as always. We'll talk athleticism, talk about the qualifiers, the level of preparation that the Tigers need to be able to excel in the Afro Basketball World Cup that will be commencing soon, and also be talking about the Nigerian Professional Football League, where Rivers United are now second in the Premier League log and waiting for another slip by Romeo Stars, who are sitting in the number 1 position on the Premier League log. So looking at all of this, we'll be having a conversation around Turkish League as well as Euros, also EPL and other sporting activities that will be coming up this week. But before we get right into all of these conversations, we'll be going on a very quick break, and then when we return back, Talk Sports continues. Stay with us. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now let's get right into the conversation. Bolaji clinched gold medal at Spanish Para Badminton Tournament. Yes, Paralympian bronze medalist Eniola Bolaji has added another prestigious gold medal to her collection, winning the women's singles SL3 category at the 2025 Spanish Para Badminton International in Victoria, extending her remarkable unbeaten run to 11 international tournaments. The multiple African champion convincingly defeated Ukraine's Oksana Karabev 2-0 by, in bracket now, there is a breakdown of the sets. Goes by, she scores 21 to 15 points and 21 to 15 points in the finals, and cementing her status as one of the world's dominant force in para badminton. Bolaji's path to gold was nothing short of impressive, as she dismantled her every opponent in the way without dropping a single sweat throughout the tournament. She opened her campaign with a commanding 2-0 victory over Brazilian Cruz Michelsen, and before this patching Francis Caroline Brinston 2-0 at the group stage. So all of the trajectory down to her winning this gold medal has been nothing else but flawless. This shows how amazing women are in whatever sector they are, setting the pace and continuing with that trajectory. And we celebrate women internationally. We also celebrate our women in sports who have been making Nigeria proud and flying the green, white, green flag up and above and clinching gold medals in most of the situations that they find themselves. So I want to say congratulations to Eniola Bolaji, and also happy International Women's Day to the entire women in the world. So we celebrate you and we see the amazing work you're doing in the world of sport and every other sectors that you find yourself. There's that on athleticism. Let's move to the NBA. Not the NBA, we'll get to the NBA, but now let's move to the Tigers, where the head coach of Gombe Bulls have called for a need for the Tigers to have early preparation. Gombe Bulls basketball coach Samson John has called for an early commencement of preparation for Nigeria's national team, the Tigers, ahead of the 2025 FIBA Afro Basketball Championship in Angola. Speaking after Nigerians secured qualification from the continental tournament, John stressed that the journey has just begun for the team that got the better of Uganda and Cape Verde and hosts Libya during the last qualification tournament. The coach emphasized that Nigeria needs to do better than their shaky performance at the 2021 edition and return to the stirring form that they saw them emerge champions in 2015. Adding that only early planning by the Nigerian Basketball Federation will see the Tigers excel at the tournament. Early preparation is always very key. Early preparation led to the significant outrun of Cape Verde and Angola, as well as Libya during the qualifying stages. Early preparation attributed to all of that. But now, moving on, for the Tigers to be able to achieve the feat that they achieved in the year 2015 and not have the kind of performance they had in 2021, preparation and synergy chemistry needs to be well built within these players, and they need to start preparation early, just like Samson says. But currently a few players are in camp already in the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, and also trainings have begun for them ahead of the Afro Basketball Championship. But for other teams that are playing in Europe, other players playing in Europe and also United States need to also get back early for the chemistry to be there, and for these individuals, these players, to be able to have more synergy, have game plans and draw out plays for each individual player on how to be able to win some matches in crucial positions. So looking at all of this, now for them to be able to excel in this tournament, Afro Championship that is going to be kick-starting in Angola, we're hoping to see that the other players and then the MBBF gets a whole lot of persons involved and ready to go. So that's it on basketball. Moving on, we'll be talking football now, where we're seeing the Nigerian Professional Football League getting more and more interesting, where Plateau United beat Abia Warriors 1-0 to boost their MPFL survival. Former champions Plateau United boost their chances of escaping relegation in the 2024-2025 Premier League, Nigerian Premier Football League, with a slim 1-0 victory over Abia Warriors during the March Day 28 game in Jos. A 54th minute penalty from Olawale Doyin made the difference for the Pace Boys, ultimately moving them out of the relegation zone into the 4th position on the log with 34 points after 14 matches. It was the Jos side third win in their last 3 matches, adding that their run of construct results in fights against the drop zone. Their struggle is also compounded by a 3-point deduction which was slammed on them by the Nigerian Professional League Board after their trouble that erupted in the game against Rangers International in the month of November. So Plateau United fighting all their way not to go back to the NNL, because with the moment you find yourself in the drop zone, automatically you are going down to the lower league. So former champions struggling not to remain at their level of relegation. They are looking forward to advancing their career, their points, and coming away from the drop zone and maintaining their lead in the Nigeria Professional Football League. But if their next futures, which will be coming up this weekend, if they don't get to win or secure a draw, then they are still going down to the drop zone and might sadly find themselves in the NNL come next season if they don't get to get away from the drop zone. So moving away from Plateau United, still talking Nigerian Professional Football League, Rivers United closes gap as leader Romeo Stars lost. So just this past weekend we saw Rivers United. Before now, Coach Finidi George, who is the head coach of Rivers United, have made mention of the fact that he is awaiting a slip from Romeo Stars, which happened this past weekend. Let me bring you up to speed with the story. Rivers United narrowed the gap at the top of the Nigerian Premier League Premier Football League to 8 points after they pipped they defeated Niger Tornadoes, while leaders Romeo Stars suffered a 2-1 defeat at Bendel Insurance. The Port Harcourt side moved to 46 points from 28 matches after Samson Obi struck the winner in the 83rd minute against Niger Tornadoes at their Konya Stadium. Meanwhile, the table toppers Romeo Stars stumbled on their travel, falling 2-1 to Bendel Insurance in Benin City. Despite the setback, Daniel's men remain in control of the title race with 54 points from their features. The victory propelled Insurance to 7th position in the standing as they improved to 41 points, keeping alive their hope of securing a continental ticket. So looking at this now, like I rightly said earlier, Coach Finidi George mentioned that he is waiting for a slip from Romeo Stars. Now we saw one slip just this past weekend, and Rivers United were able to capitalize and then win their match, advancing their points to 46 points on the Premier League log. And then still, despite the defeats that they suffered and the last draw that they had, talking about Romeo Stars now, they still remain up front with 54 points. But now, it's just 8 points difference. Now, if Romeo Stars don't continue winning their matches or maybe getting crucial draws that is needed, then there will be a problem, because Rivers United now are chasing them and their eye is on getting to that number 1 spot on the table. So, looking at the current Nigerian Professional Football League now, from number 1 position to the 10th, we have Romeo Stars sitting with 28 games played at 54 points. Rivers United with 28 games played to second on the log with 46 points. We have Ikorodu Stars with 44 points, and we have Shooting Stars, who were once sitting at the second position with now 43 points. Enugu Rangers, former champions, sitting at the 5th position with 42 points. We have Kano Pillars sitting at the 6th position with 42 points. Bendel Insurance having 41 points. Eyimba of Aba sitting in the 8th position with 41 points. Abia Warriors sitting at the 9th position with 41 points. And then Ekelemi Warriors of Maiduguri, Borno State, sitting at the 10th position with 40 points. So looking at all of this now, the margins are not just so much, aside from that with Romeo Stars and Rivers United, just 8 points difference. So in the next 2 matches, if Rivers United can be able to win their next 2 matches, they will get more closer to winning the title. But let's see what happens. A few more matches are still available to be played, and then we will hope to see how interesting and how superb that will be, looking at the current challenges that Romeo Stars will be facing this coming weekend. So moving away from the Nigerian local leagues, which is actually the biggest league in Nigeria, we'll be having a conversation where we saw a whole lot of Nigerians played in this past weekend, but we had just 2 who came out victorious and smiling. We'll be going on a quick break, and then when we return back, we'll be having a conversation where Osimhen powers Galatasaray's victory in the Turkish league. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now let's get right into it. The Turkish Super League, where currently Victor Osimhen is playing on loan from Napoli. Though, despite still playing on loan on Napoli at Galatasaray, a whole lot of players, teams, I beg your pardon, teams have been coming to land him by the end of the summer. We saw during the January transfer window, we saw likes of PSG, we saw likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United also coming for this said individual, but still, Galatasaray saying he is going nowhere, and these other teams are not just meeting up the mark of 75 million euros to be able to get the signature of the Nigerian superstar. So moving on, Galatasaray were on the verge of dropping more points in the pursuit of the Turkish Super League title, but Victor Osimhen turned up again, netting the winner in their 2-1 victory at Arsenal off of the back of a brace in their 3-3 draw against Kansas last week. The strikers' momentum was almost halted by their hosts until the 62nd minute, when he rose higher from quite a difficult position, limping to connect with a cross and powered his header inside the right post. The goal took his league tally to 17 goals and 4 assists, while Galatasaray also kept their 7-point lead until rivals Fenerbahce played their game at hand. So, looking at all of this now, Victor Osimhen is obviously a very big name in the Turkish Super League. Aside from the Turkish Super League, when he was still playing at Napoli at the Serie A, he was phenomenal and was one of the major forces that drove the win of a title to the Serie A title to Napoli around last season. So looking at all of this now, he's at his peak, young at 25, scoring goals night in and night out, and he has been very, very crucial and very, very effective when it comes to playing in the in the Turkish league. So fans love him. But now Galatasaray are making comments of the fact that they are not letting him go based on transfers, that he's going to remain there. But we're still seeing clubs like Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea gunning for him. Ronjo was also mentioned to go to the Turkish league with that is a player and a money swap for Victor Osimhen, but still Manchester United weren't able to land him based on the fact that they said there's a whole lot of issues going on within Victor Osimhen, and landing him is actually something that they can't be able to handle now. Probably aside having players play badly on the field, Manchester United seem to be broke not to be able to land Victor Osimhen. But let's move away from that and then hope that when Victor Osimhen comes back in the next couple of weeks to play in Rwanda and Zimbabwe, we will see the same level of form when the Super Eagles tend to tries to qualify for the 2026 World Cup that will be played in Mexico, Canada, and US, and then the finals of the World Cup competition will be played in New Jersey. And the FIFA president have made mention of the fact that the final is going to be just like the Super Bowl final games that usually happen in football matches, that's American football matches. So, and different from soccer. Yes, so let's move away from that and see what and hope that Victor Osimhen will find himself in a club where he'll be very happy and where he'll be very effective. Maybe Arsenal or even Chelsea or PSG by the end of the summer. Now let's talk about Lookman, who has scored his 50th Serie A goal, and that automatically gives a big win to Atalanta over Juventus. Ademola Lookman scored his 50th Serie A goal as Atalanta humiliated Juventus with a resounding 4-0 victory in their clash at the stadium away from basically at home. Lookman played a key role in the rout, camping off a dominant performance with a rout-taking goal that sealed an empathetic win from Gasparini's side in the battle for third place. The Nigerian forward was a constant menace for the Juventus defense, coming close twice in the first half, first seeing a deflected effort crash against the post before forcing Michael Diaz into a desperate save moment later in the first half. The Podnori took the lead through a Mentos Regis penalty in the 35th minute after Washington Markin's handled the ball inside the box. Talking about Ademola Lookman now, he has been very, very effective this season for the wins that we've seen. Atlanta gets to win, but though when he was highly needed in the Champions League against Club Brugge, he wasn't able to deliver, which caused a bit of a rift between him and his head coach. But fans and the owners of Atlanta reacted different, and then we've seen Ademola Lookman, who has been setting pace and pace and pace, breaking records and setting new ones for himself. So this is the first time ever Ademola Lookman facing Juventus and defeating them. Last season they faced each other and then Juventus humiliated them, but now the table's turned, where Ademola Lookman got his 50th career goal in the Serie A and also defeating his rivals Juventus on the same night. So there is nothing short but say congratulations to him. But talking about transfers now, we've seen Newcastle come out to say that they want Ademola Lookman. We've seen Aston Villa come out to say the same thing. But now, is it actually good? Is it going to be a good move for him? Definitely. For me, I don't think so, because he needs to go to a club where he would be able to play Champions League. Looking at Newcastle now, obviously there is no way they can make it through to the top 5 or top 4 and get to play in the Champions League. That's talking about the EPL now. But now, Aston Villa, the same thing. So clubs like Arsenal and Chelsea make rumors have it that these teams, even PSG, seeking for the signature of this great Nigerian player. But still, we are still waiting to see what would happen. Looking at his current style of play, looking at his current momentum, looking at his current peak. That's now he's at his peak and he's at his prime time, basically, because he's almost playing like Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen scores in night in, night out and creates assists. The same with Ademola Lookman now. Whatever move that they would make is actually going to be very crucial. And at this point, we've seen some players move and then the level of performance gets to drop. But now, let's see if Ademola Lookman gets to move. Let's see what's going to happen. Depending on where he moves to, even if he moves to a place like Arsenal or Manchester United, we might see him, advancing and then playing more. But Aston Villa, Newcastle, maybe we can't see a bit of a change. But Real Madrid, we've heard rumors that Ancelotti is also seeking for a signature. But the problem now is, would he be coming off the bench? Who is he going to bench? Because looking at the current Real Madrid squad, is actually very, very tight. So I don't even know how he's going to factor into that squad currently. But for the individual Ademola Lookman, he is a great guy. And again, congratulations on his 50th Serie A career goal and finally achieving his dream of defeating Juventus. So let's move away from the Serie A. Let's talk EPL, where Chelsea moved forth with a win against Leicester City. Chelsea boost their bid to qualify for Champions League as Cucurella Rockets sealed a 1-0 victory over Leicester City, while Tottenham fought back from 2 goals down to a 2-2 draw with Bournemouth just this Sunday. Cucurella struck in the second half at Stamford Bridge to lift Chelsea above Manchester City into the fourth in the Premier League table. The Blues are 2 points ahead of City in the race for top 4 finish that guarantees a Champions League berth. It was only Chelsea's 4th victory in their last 12 league games as they respond to boss Enzo Maresca's challenge to winning all their remaining home matches. So the reason why Chelsea have been losing like this, lost 8 out of I think drew and then lost more and drew less and then winning 4 out of this season currently, it's just because of the new styles and then injury worries that Chelsea is facing. Enzo Maresca is an overthinker. He tries to apply new things in every matches, and that has affected negatively to the team. But Chelsea now looking as if they're getting back on their winning ways, because Chelsea started deteriorating, losing games the moment Enzo Maresca has made the statement that Chelsea is not built for a championship, are not contending for the championship. Chelsea was sitting number 1 on the Premier League log when this statement was made. Then automatically when that statement was made, Chelsea started losing matches and then playing draws, and then that has now brought Chelsea to a position where they are struggling within Manchester City and them and Chelsea to see if they can be able to make it through to the Champions League, qualify for the Champions League. But let's see how that will play out. There are still a couple of matches that would be played. Manchester City has tougher games that would be played that they require to win. But let's see how that will play out. Chelsea too have a whole lot on their hand that they need to focus more on. But at the end of the day, it's actually going to be either Chelsea or Manchester City. But if Chelsea can get to win their next couple of matches and then Nottingham Forest get to drop points, then it's going to seem as if Chelsea wouldn't have so much to worry about, just like Liverpool sitting with 70 points on the number one on the Premier League log and EPL, and then sitting quietly and just waiting for other teams to play catch up. That is what Liverpool are currently doing, because Arsenal now with 55 points are no threats to Liverpool at all. So let's talk about Arsenal now. Arsenal title bid fades away after a draw with Manchester United. The Gunners were held at a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford and now tailed leaders Liverpool by 15 points with a game in hand. We've seen that reported individuals have asked Mikel Arteta what his plans are for Arsenal, but it looks as if that he is not even ready, and individuals like Roy Keane have questioned the mentality of Arsenal and looking at it and saying that there is no evidence that shows that Arsenal can be able to win Premier League title under Mikel Arteta even next season. Now we are never talking about this season because this season is done already, and then individuals don't know what's actually going to happen. Now, Arsenal played PSV just this past week in the Champions League and defeated them 7-1. Now, coming into this weekend now, people are expecting, looking at the current form of Manchester United, who have been struggling the entire season and who are sitting currently at the number 14th position in the Premier League log, highest, and I just finished maybe number 12th position on the Premier League log, because with the current form of Manchester United, I don't think they will even make it to top 10. But that story is for another day. Looking at Arsenal's current form, playing PSV 7-1 in the Champions League, Arsenal fans and the entire world of sports were expecting to see at least a 2-1 victory against Manchester United, looking at their current form, but that wasn't the case. Arsenal, though some persons have argued that Arsenal don't have a striker, that's why the whole game went the way it went. They say with Manchester United, nobody can even bank on Ramos Honjo as a die-hard striker for Manchester United as it stands now, because the captain Bruno was the one who scored the goal from in the first half, scoring from 25 yards away from the goal line, playing a very, very sweet free kick and then finding the back of the net. But looking at Arsenal and Manchester United now currently, Arsenal, you can all agree with me, has more form than Manchester United. Then what then happened? Why didn't Arsenal get together clear 3 points that is required of them? Maybe fatigue, or the fact that they were very stressed from the game against PSV, and or maybe they scored all the goals that they had to score for just this week, for just the past week against PSV, scoring 7-1. So that's just what the whole of professionals are speculating. But for Manchester United now currently, I think it's meant to be a walkover for Arsenal, looking at their current form and the current statistics that these both teams have. We'll be going on a quick break, and then when we return back, we'll be having conversations around Fernandes' free kick and the positioning of the goalkeeper, David Ryan. Let's go on that quick break. We'll be right back.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Yes, many thanks for staying with us. So now, there's just been questions around David Ryan's positioning when Bruno Fernandes wanted to take his free kick. The United captain opened the scoring just before first half with a fairly flat effort from more than 25 yards. Before the free kick was taken, Navel said while commenting, he says the wall looks a fair away back, looks like it's giving him a chance, and it looks like a mile back. So looking at it now, the position now from what was said is above 10 feet, and the positioning of the goalkeeper as well also tends to give Bruno Fernandes a higher advantage to be able to score and then find the back of the net. But that free kick was clearly and technically well struck, that despite the positioning of the wall and also the goalkeeper, there is no how that it takes a very experienced goalkeeper, based on the way that Bruno Fernandes kicked the ball and the angle where he sends the ball to. It takes a whole lot of goalkeeping experience to be able to stop a shot like that. So looking at all of those, I don't think the positioning was actually a problem, but because the strike was taken properly and it was well struck, and then he found the back of the net, but there was nothing the wall nor the goalkeeper could be able to do against that. And Manchester United actually looked as if they were going to walk away with the 3 points before Arsenal were able to manage to come back. So we hope to see more and more comebacks from Manchester United. That's if they can be able to have their house in order and sign a striker by the end of the summer who would be able to help them win more matches and then advance, because Manchester United actually started out a good front. Maybe having Marcus Rashford come back towards the end, maybe by the end of the summer, would be able to help out and have his form back on to be able to, perform and score goals for Manchester United. That's talking about his boyhood club. So let's move very totally from football and talk a bit about basketball, where we see the Clippers top kings on Kawhi Leonard's game winner, and then not just winning the game but beating the Buzzards. The game came at a very, very close time, where that moment in the NBA always anticipates who would we send this ball to, and then we will get the final shot off. And then Kawhi Leonard was the man for the Los Angeles Clippers early hours of today, where he took the shot and then gave his side the win that they deserve and that they've worked hard for. Because coming from behind, the Spurs think the Night Kings think they're actually going to walk away with the victory, but coming from behind on the road, Kawhi Leonard was able to deliver a stunning three-pointer that gave his team the win, and then beating the Buzzards at 1/10 of a second. So that's just very interesting, and like we always mention and always say when it comes to the world of basketball, that every second counts, and then within a split second he was able to release the ball and he was able to beat the Buzzards and winning the game for his team. Looking at those angles now, talk still basketball. LeBron James injures as Stephen Curry passes 25,000 career points. LeBron James leads off the Los Angeles Lakers game 111-101 defeat by Boston Celtics, current champions, with a growing injury. The 40-year-old left the court during a timeout in the fourth quarter after contesting a layup with Jaylen Brown. LeBron James scored 22 points with 14 rebounds and 9 assists before his exit with 6 minutes and 44 seconds left to play. The NBA all-time leading scorer missed 17 games with a growing problem in the year 2018, but said he did not have so much concern about his setbacks. Of course, he has no much concern about his setbacks, looking at the fact that he's sitting at the throne alone with 50,000 career points, and it took him 22 seasons to be able to do that. At 40, LeBron James is still playing, the current oldest player in the NBA, in the league, and he has scored 50,000 points and still suffering injury, and then all of those contributed to the loss that his team suffered. Now, can Luka be able to carry Los Angeles Lakers without the help of LeBron James? We will know the answer to that. When he left, the whole game started, and then the whole job was just left on Luka, and then Luka wasn't able to carry on with the fifth as defeating Baltimore Celtics and having the win away from home. So we wish LeBron James a quick recovery and hope to see him back on court and doing things that he loves doing. Let's talk Stephen Curry as he hits 25,000 career points. Curry becomes the fifth active player with at least 25,000 career points, along with LeBron James, who has over 25,000. Kevin Durant also having around 40,000 points, and then James Harden also having around 39,000 points, and Westbrook also having around 25,000 points. Currently in his 16th season, Curry entered the game averaging 24.4 points, 6.2 assists, and 4.5 rebounds in 54 games before adding his legendary name to another page in the NBA's record book as he reached his 25,000 career points mark. Now, Curry is 37. Does he have it in the bag to be able to play like LeBron James up to 40? Currently, we saw him dunk, and then he says that is going to be his last dunk of his career. What does this mean now? Does it mean that he's planning on drawing the curtain in the next couple of seasons? Well, he's looking at it now as a boost, given the fact that he has Jimmy Butler and then he has Draymond Green. He feels they are going for the final round of the NBA, and then seeing if they can be able to win a championship with this current three big men, this current big three that is in the Golden State Warriors. Since after the trade, there's this new spark in Stephen Curry and his style of play. Him and the mix of him, Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green has been very, very effective for the Golden State Warriors side. Now, the head coach, Stephen Kerr, says something that currently they don't have a very big figure. They don't have someone who is 6'9" or 6'10" or 7'1". They don't have size currently, but what they have is a whole lot of brain power, which has been helping them win matches since after the All-Star weekend. Talking about players who also have reached a significant mark, also scoring around 20,000 career points, is our very own Nigerian-born who is now nationalized with Greece. Talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, also hit a 20,000 career point. The former NBA champion and also former NBA champion, former MVP, and also the current NBA Emirates Cup champion, also hit his own 20,000 career points just this past weekend. All of these things have been showing how effective it is. Looking at the current squad now of Milwaukee Bucks, they are looking like a contending team, just not just the Milwaukee Bucks. We're looking at the Golden State Warriors, we're looking at the OKCs, we're looking at the New York Knicks, and then we're also looking at the Timberwolves. Also not keeping Bolton Celtics, who are the current champions of the NBA, and also looking at this angle of Denver Nuggets, who are also championship team. Philadelphia Sixers and the rest, Toronto Raptors, all of these teams are not basically in the contending form of the NBA team. These teams can go through a Game 7 series in an NBA playoff series game. So let's just look and see in the next couple of weeks. The playoffs is around the corner, and the first and the third seeds now are actually looking very, very hungry, and we hope to see what will be able to happen, if there will be upsets, if this current trade that transpired between the Lakers and the Mavericks, and also Miami Heat, and also Phoenix Suns and Golden State Warriors, how is going to help shaping the next couple of games that will be played in the NBA. This is how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of Talk Sports. My name is Samuel Odi. I want to say a very big thank you to the entire production team for making today's production seamless. I'll see you again as we talk more sports. Bye for now.